Alright YouTube, so today we'll be completing an aluminum TIG welding repair on the front cover from an engine. Now this particular cover came from a Japanese made Perkins engine, so it's not the most common thing out there, and my buddy Steve the mechanic needs it fixed up since the replacement for it costs over $2,000. So I told him that even though this thing looks pretty bad, I'll see what I can do. Alright, so here you can see it's cracked quite thoroughly. Not too sure exactly how this happened, and honestly I don't really care because it looks quite fixable just by following some standard aluminum welding procedures. So first off here, we wanted to go ahead and remove any and all paint and other contaminants from around the weld and in that whole immediate area, because as we all know, TIG is a very sensitive process to things like paint and grease and whatnot, and this cover has both in excess. So I went ahead and just used a wire wheel on my angle grinder for this. It worked great, and then I scrubbed things manually with a traditional wire brush in the areas I couldn't get into with the angle grinder, and then I cleaned the surface with some acetone on a rag, looked it over quite thoroughly, and called it good. Alright, so the next step in this repair is to go ahead and drill a hole at the end of each crack. There's two, one coming in from each side, because this will stop the crack from expanding and growing larger. You know, there won't be any more material to crack because of this hole. You know, obviously it's a hole, there's, you know, a void. And we'll simply weld up the hole when we weld the crack, and this ensures that the cracked material is all removed, even on the invisible levels. The tiny little bits of the crack still in the metal are gone, and it's all been replaced by wholesome, pure aluminum of structural integrity. So from here I decided to take a moment and make sure what we're about to weld is actually aluminum, as obvious as this sounds, and not magnesium. So we picked up some of the flakes from the drilling and we tried to light them, because we all know that magnesium itself is highly flammable. It's the same stuff used to make the silver keychain fire starter bars, and while it can be welded, it does require different filler metal and a slightly different procedure to work with than aluminum, and I'm pretty lucky in that I happen to have both the setup and the skills to do both metals. But once we made sure that this thing really was cast aluminum and not cast magnesium, it was time to move on with our cast aluminum welding procedures, and next up we decided to bevel the joint. Now what this does is it allows for the weld to deeply penetrate the full depth of our material, and it allows for the sides of the weld to better fuse into the sides of the casting, as opposed to simply welding over an existing crack, which is a great way to ensure that the crack returns and cracks your weld with it while destroying all of your hard work and effort. So since we didn't want that, you'll also notice that we've gone ahead and clamped this casting to a board. You can see we had no issues welding this up, since the preparations we made earlier on in this casting really cleared the way for us to come in here. Well, there you have it, YouTube. Possibly not the cleanest aluminum welds in all recorded history, but considering this is cast aluminum, and especially cast aluminum on something that's been saturated in diesel oil for probably longer than I've been alive, I really can't complain, to be honest. I'm really happy with how this came out. I showed it to my buddy Steve the mechanic. He came by and picked it up the other day and absolutely loved it. He thought it was awesome, and he's gonna go put the engine back together now, and it's all well that ends well. This thing got fixed pretty quickly, and his customer now gets to save a whole bunch of money, and on my end it really wasn't that bad for part of an afternoon's worth of work. So really enjoyable little project here. I sincerely hope you guys have enjoyed it, and as always, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more. I'll put some links in the description for folks to check out if they're interested, and have fun, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.